Hello, everybody. It's Oklahoma Soda Gal coming at you for the first time in 2026 with my co-host Paula. How you doing today, Paula?
I'm good. Can you believe this is our 11th episode already?
11
One
like
more.
L in Stranger Things. Ooh. Everybody's been talking Stranger Things on Threads for the last 2 days. So I watched the finale. Were you a Stranger Things watcher?
I started it and then life happened because that was like 10 years ago, and
Right?
I just have not come back to it. I'm usually a finale girl though. Even shows that I don't watch, if I know it's like the series finale, I'm like, oh, let me tune in to, Eddie goes to New York. I'm like, I never watched this, but everybody on Threads, or I should say, a lot of people on Threads, thankfully, are using the spoiler tag, so not everybody knows what's happened.
I've been very good about that. Any discussion I've had, I've put the spoiler thing over. That's one of my favorite features on Threads. I'm so glad they came up with that because it was kind of annoying because of the way we consume shows these days. We don't all sit and watch them at the same time the way we did when you and I were kids, for sure. And you'd almost couldn't check your social media even if you were like watching a game or something instead that night. You had to like be really careful not to see what was going on if you were waiting to hit that show tomorrow or the next day. And the spoiler alert thing is great on Threads. Love that.
Well, were you satisfied with the finale? No spoilers, but were you satisfied?
I was. I think it was very needed storytelling, and handled carefully and well. And it's always so hard to land a show that has such wide fandom. And there's
Yeah.
very few shows these days that do have such a wide audience. And trying to keep that big of an audience happy with a finale, you can almost never do it. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there are going to be critics out there, but I think the overwhelming, response should be positive. It was, I think, handled well and maybe conveyed a little bit of a difference in moving past some of the gritty storytelling of the aughts and teens where we were obsessed with anti-heroes, and maybe we can move a little bit back towards like some hopefulness and some earnestness.
I think now that it's all aired, I might be more inclined to revisit it from the beginning again and at least be able to watch it consecutively without having these years gaps between them, and everything would still be fresh in my mind. You
Yeah,
know,
I'd also recommend like there's YouTube creators who do like secondary content, like new
Mhm.
rock stars and some channels like that where you can go they'll review like episode by episode and get into some of the details and help you pick up on, little things you might have missed in your first watch through, and then they can add additional history. Like apparently there's a play that's part of the Stranger Things universe that only was like a play and was not part of the Netflix series, but it ends up having some important information that's useful to the final season. So, um,
Interesting. Now,
definitely
I did,
recommend checking out secondary content.
well, I know one of the, is it
Hi.
Duffner?
The
Sorry,
Duffer
I
Brothers.
Duffer Brothers. I know one of them had put out a list of four must watch episodes going into this season. It's like if you don't want to go back and watch all of it, then here are four pivotal ones to watch before you go. So maybe, but I mean, I'm also a series purist too. Like if I'm going to commit to it, I'm gonna watch it. I'm a Grey's Anatomy to the end of the final voiceover, whether I'm enjoying it or not. I'm not. But, I've committed like 37 years of my life now to this show. I have to see it end. So,
I mean, yeah, you're in that far. It's
mm,
you got to just stick it out.
exactly. So, but it was a good week. We didn't watch too many finales this week, but I did watch the New Year's Eve game that the Thunder played the
Woo!
Blazers. Close out the year with a
Thunder
win.
closing out 2025 the correct way with a W. What a year 2025 was for this Oklahoma City Thunder squad. Uh,
Insane.
and closing out the way they did against the Blazers, like they remembered how to play Thunder basketball. They didn't let the Blazers hang around most of the game. Everybody was, playing well. AJ Mitchell had a really great game. Um,
Perfect shooting game.
Perfect
Perfect.
shooting
Four
game.
from the field. He's got a
Getting
three.
to the line a lot.
He
Like,
got 8 free throws.
that's a huge deal because that's a lot of points you leave on the board. If you're not able to drive to the basket and get some calls, though, that's why the bench unit sometimes really sputters because unless J-Dub is getting calls, there really wasn't any other ball handler on the team that could kind of drive to the basket and force the whistle and kind of help make sure we're not getting out of the game. And
Yeah.
AJ can really come in and do that and is doing it really at a high level.
He's such a firecracker. I'm excited to watch him. I mean, he's another one of those little untapped treasures that Samuel found down further in the draft. I
From
mean,
Belgian Waffle University.
that's the best. I love it when the players are so comfortable and playful like that.
I wonder tonight's on Prime, so I don't think they do that on Prime like they do on Peacock. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets another start at some point. Will he use that again in that NBC lineup?
I hope so. I love the playfulness. These new NBC and the Peacock and everything that they've brought back to these introductions that's been missing. It's just so much more enjoyable.
As much as it's annoying that we now have to go to more places to get all the games,
Yeah.
I do really welcome the new fresh air of voices, especially like the more recent players, like guys who played in the league within the last 5 years or so,
Yeah.
who still have relevant experience to like today's NBA. Like this game, we're playing at a pace they haven't played at since the 70s. Like guys that played in the 90s, I love you. You're some of my heroes. You're some of the first players I ever watched. But your experience was in a very different league where teams were winning games 98 to 83. And like,
Yeah.
that's not the same as we had a game the other night with 140 points on the board. Like, this is a little different pace. It's a little different game, and I love hearing from like the Blake Griffins and the Jamal Crawfords and some of the guys whose careers ended as this era was taking off. So they have a little different perspective, and they're not so Stephen A. Smith like hot takey negative about everything.
No, I think it's really breathed fresh air into things. I think one of the most interesting things, like on Christmas Day, and recent was the Inside the NBA guys coming back with
Yes.
their show. And, you know, I don't know if it's because they were the main levity show in town that they could get away with a little more negativity or just completely irrelevant content, when talking about the games, except Ernie. Ernie is always trying to keep everybody
Yeah.
straight. But then you bring in these new, you got Dirk and Blake and everybody, and they're just talking positively and how things are. Like you say, the more recent players are using their experience. And I think it's giving a different perspective. And I think it was, at least for me, it was a pretty stark difference between broadcasts of seeing, the inside the NBA, which we don't see very often anymore, against these new ones.
Hmm.
And well, not against, but I mean,
Yeah, like
in
cuts almost
conjunction.
side by side, like getting a
Yeah,
more neck one day after the other kind of comparo. Um,
so I mean, maybe, maybe it's just it gives more options to the viewers, the different platforms, the different announcers. Like I personally, I actually have a FanDuel season pass because I'm a homer and I love watching, you know, Chris and Michael spout their nonsense, during the game. Because those are my guys who are announcing for my team.
mhm.
I enjoy watching the other ones when it's not available on FanDuel, but I love that there is a variety for players for people to come in and find the people that speak to them.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's been great. And like, this is not a slight to the inside the NBA guys. I do want to
No, no,
make
no, no,
clear,
no.
like, I do appreciate I appreciate them the most in the playoffs, though, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
they feel like they don't always fully pay close attention in the regular season. But then, like, when they're in the playoffs and they're watching a series over and over again, they can really come in with some great insight. But I think sometimes you can tell in the regular season they're kind of phoning it in and just having hijinks to have hijinks and not really that focused on whether they're getting the correct analysis on the game or
And
not.
I am not one to judge getting not right analysis after a game.
Hey,
You
we
give
we all can be wrong. We can all be wrong.
You get me after a game like tonight's 9 p.m. Golden State Warriors game. I mean, it's going to be 11:30
I'm
midnight before I'm
I'm looking
rattling.
forward. Late night Paula on the post game wrap tonight, y'all.
Oh, you
It's gonna
guys.
be awesome.
If any of you ever come back and say, I'm going to have to fact check you, Paula, we're going to have a conversation because I guarantee that I am not always fact checking.
If
I
if
shouldn't say
she
that.
if she gets it wrong when she says it, she'll just fix it in the script so it'll say the right word.
There's not a
In,
thing wrong with
watch
that.
the captions and you'll get the correct word.
Exactly.
So, it's fine.
Oh, I love it. I think it's fun. I think it just comes from the same energy, you talk to people after a game and you're saying things and it doesn't always come out right, but your intention and the excitement, I mean, it's there. It's there.
Well, you know what you won't get from us is AI. You're getting real, legit responses from human beings when you're dealing with the Thunder Gals.
That is absolutely true. Absolutely.
But
But
in a different direction, speaking of persons, there is
person,
one person who was named the Sports Person of the Year by Sports Illustrated. Who
who
was
was
that,
that, Britt?
Paula?
That is our very own Shay Gilgis Alexander. Woo!
Woo!
A very, very deserving award for our point guard.
Goodness, I think the only trophy he missed out on in 2025 was that NBA Cup MVP.
I think that's just about it. I mean,
He got
and
Western Conference Finals MVP. He got scoring champion. He got league MVP. He got finals MVP. And now Sports Person of the Year for Sports Illustrated. Congratulations.
yeah, I'm so excited that, the article by Chris Mannix and then the video that they put out was it was really good. It really captured, how the players see Shea
Hmm.
and Shea's support that he recognizes. And it to me, it's been so amazing to watch his growth from when Paul George, Thunder legend Paul George, thank you very much forever, um, got the trade and brought SGA here. SGA and the Thunder put out a little introductory video about Shea. And it was when Shea first got to Oklahoma City. It was kind of his first impressions, and it gave a little bit about background about him. And then you compare it to this Sportsman of the Year video, and it's still, Shea is still the same, appreciating things and his support team and how he got here. And I'm just like, our Shea's growing up. Oh,
Yeah, it's also they had his brother in this video, the
yeah,
SI video on YouTube. Go check it out. It's only like an 8 or 9 minute long video. It's not a huge commitment of time. Totally worth checking out. Um, his brother looks and sounds so much like him. Like at
oh
first
yeah,
I was like, is that a doppelganger? Like, oh, that's just his brother. Like, oh my gosh.
so
Very,
much like,
very much looks and sounds like it was nuts. Great little video, well deserved. It's clear he has put in a lot of work to get here.
yeah,
And that, he puts in a lot of work to stay here at the top. And the one thing I will say, you bring up kind of how he's kind of the same Shea. I think he is and isn't. Um, I think the Shea, when he first came to Oklahoma City, was a leader by example, but didn't really speak a lot. Whereas
no.
today's Shea, you get him making comments, at the podium on Christmas Day, like they're just better than us, like a very calculated leader comment to ignite his team. I don't think we would have seen that back in,
No, I
2021.
no, no, but I think, I think the roots were there. I think he was handed, you know, Samuel said, look, this is what we're doing. Here's the keys to the city, and here's the keys to the team. And you can see the respect from his teammates. Like
Yeah,
again, lead by example, but also the encouragement and the everything that he does. It's like, J Dub said, this is what you want in a superstar.
yeah.
You know, you want somebody that you can look up to and who's going to set, a tone. So,
Well, and I
yeah.
think it's important that he did earn it. This,
Hmm.
he was kind of handed the keys, but even if you really think back, I know at least, folks on like in the Daily Thunder slash Down to Dunk universe, a lot more of the talk was like, can Shea be 1A or are we waiting to draft 1A and he's just 1B? Like there was
Yeah.
a lot like nobody really knew for certain, like it wasn't clear that he was gonna be MVP, lead a team to a championship level of player. There was question as to whether we still needed to draft that player to go next to him or not. And
Yeah, but
so he really earned it, I think.
I think he really earned it, but it's funny because, he's still topic of conversation. Can Shea be the face of the NBA? And they're always wanting to throw other people in there. I'm like, what else does this man need to do? He's up there. He loves his family, loves his team, loves his city, is so developed and driven by what he wants. Like, don't you want that to be your
Right?
example? Or do you want somebody that's just very flashy and, big personality, but maybe not the best example to follow?
But
No names listed.
setting up franchises.
You know, I mean,
If you're a Fight Club fan, you'll get that reference.
I just I don't know.
Um,
But again, I preface absolutely everything I say in every episode. I am a homer. So shocking. I want my guy to be
what? The co-host of the Thunder Gals is a Homer?
right. In
I can't
breaking
even
news,
imagine. Can't even imagine. No. I'm a homer as well. Like I do try to be objective in my view of the league though, because
no, for
I
real.
don't want to be such a homer that I'm blind to our own shortcomings or
No.
have unrealistic expectations because I can't see what's actually going on. So I do try to be objective as best I can, but um,
Well, I do too.
also,
And
luckily, right now, I can say I'm being objective while also saying SGA is the best player in the world. And
I mean, you're not wrong. But I mean, I think it's part of a conversation. Like, so Dr. Thompson this week we were talking about Joker went down.
yeah,
And you hate to see any player go down. I take no joy in that. I take nothing. I don't enjoy it. I want the best players out there. And, he made the point to me is like, well, this just really opens things up for Shea and MVP. And I
hmm
said, you're not going to hear me say that.
yeah,
Because everything is on paper. Nothing can happen. But like I say multiple times, and I know I've said it here, anything can happen in a game. Joker
yeah,
is a perfect example, hyperextending his knee. Wouldn't
that's
have
right.
expected that. And for him to go down and be out for a month, or later in the week, Wimby going down. Like, these are unexpected things that you cannot factor in to anything. And
No,
it's only January 2nd. We still got a lot of games to go.
that's right. Not knock on wood, those injuries can come to us as well. The Thunder have been dealing with a lot of them. J-Dub, because of that wrist injury, he's not eligible for all the postseason awards because he was out for 19 games instead of 17 games. So,
Exactly. And
you
now,
know,
of course, that whole conversation ramps up with Joker going down and he'll be out for a month, which puts him really close to
he'll
the
be out for
17.
at least a month. He gets reevaluated in four
Right.
weeks. Now
Correct. Thank you.
you got to think he gets reevaluated in 4 weeks. That's 4 weeks he hasn't been able to be on his feet. So he's
Yeah.
going to have to get back into game shape no matter what. I think it's highly likely that we don't see Joker back until after the All-Star break. That would give him the most amount of time to get to 100% to get back out there.
And I think that would be more important to him than, to be ready to go into the playoffs rather than, oh, I can have these postseason awards, which are still important to the guys. Excuse me. They're still part of the
Yeah.
contracts. I mean, they are part of their financial package.
Yeah.
But do we want them to rush back to meet this arbitrary 65? I
I mean,
don't.
I don't think we do. And I do think there's good reason to have the conversation. Like we've now seen a few years of it, of this 65 game rule. This was fairly new up until I don't remember the exact year, but it's been in place 3 or 4 years now. It's a fairly new rule. Um, I understand why they put it in place. There
Yeah.
was a big concern because of this load management mindset. We were getting star players missing like every other game,
Hmm.
and teams were really milking that and saving them for the playoffs. And that's really bad for ticket sales. That's bad for fans. Even though fans go to see their home team, they also are going to see the stars on the other team that are coming through to play against their home team.
Yeah.
When I've gone
No.
to Wolves games as a Thunder fan, like there are Wolves fans there oohing and awing about Thunder players that they get to see come through their city. Like That's
Hmm.
part of the fan experience. And so the NBA is like, okay, guys, like if you're going to load manage so much that you're not going to play enough games, we need to put something in place that makes it clear that like if you want to get those accolades and awards, one of those things you need to be able to do is be available.
Yeah. But I
Um,
think there needs to be a threshold or some consideration for major injuries because, like,
and
if
also
you're,
like when they take place. Like yeah,
yeah,
if you missed the first 3 quarters of the season and only come back for the last quarter of the season, obviously you shouldn't really be considered for season-long awards.
right.
Um, but if
But I
you've
mean, if
played
you're
like a major chunk of the season and you're gonna miss like you played the first third, you're gonna miss the middle third, but you're gonna be back for the final third. Do we have to have it so hard and fast at 65? Or could we create some wiggle room for players to not be, in a crunch there?
I don't think that there's going to be anything that's going to satisfy everybody, but I think that there has to be some actual, I mean, the number of injuries continues to rise, severe injuries because of the pace of play. And it just continues to get worse each season. It's affecting everybody, all the teams across the league. It's not just, oh, only the Western Conference has injuries
Oh
or,
yeah,
oh,
it's
I mean,
everybody.
it's across the board and you can see it in the numbers going up each year. Something has to be addressed. And I'm not saying set another 55 threshold, but I'm saying if you are out for a month, you miss a significant chunk of games because of a level of severity. You
Yeah.
know, if there's a reason and a level of severity, then let's take that into consideration because again, it's not just an accolade. It is part of their compensation plan. And
Yeah.
J-Dub pushed through and got the championship and waited to have surgery on his wrist. He
Hmm.
wasn't doing it for the accolades coming into the next year. He
No,
wanted that trophy. He
that's right.
wanted that. And that's what pushed him.
And
But
he'd do it all over again.
absolutely in a heartbeat. But because he pushed that and then put his rehabilitation and his surgery into the off season, but he wasn't back and completely ready to begin the season. So now he gets penalized because he helped drive his team to a championship. And now
Right.
the next year he loses out on the opportunities. And I'm not even
Yeah,
saying he would
by
get it.
just a few games too.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
and he may
by
not even be
by the end of
awarded.
the season, he'll have played like 3 quarters of the season
Right.
basically. So like I
But,
get it.
I don't know. It's not going to make anybody happy. It's just funny that the conversation came up again when Joker went down because Joker got an MVP because Joel Embiid missed the cutoff his year.
Yeah.
So
And
things,
then
it's
and then Joker lost out last year when he had probably his statistical best year ever in the NBA because Shea just happened to have an even better year on a team that won 68 games.
yeah, yeah.
So
Like I say, anything can happen in a game or even
we
outside of a game.
we aren't counting on anything.
Nope.
It certainly does though clear the field a bit because I think anybody who's being objective
Knocking
about
on all the wood.
anybody being objective about best players in the league, there's basically Jokic, Giannis, and SGA on like one level, and then there's like other players a level below that. You could debate who those players are, but it's pretty clear to me that there's 3 players that are playing at a level that puts them in the real MVP conversation, and then a bunch of players behind that.
But it may give those other players an opportunity, to drive themselves forward because this game is so mental.
Hmm.
How much is it that now somebody, I don't know, I'm just going to say just because hi Omar, Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
Now maybe the window is open for him and he pushes himself further because there's a potential maybe opportunity.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Put him in the conversation.
Jalen Brunson and Cade Cunningham come to mind as the two who can really use this opportunity to start putting their names into that conversation.
No, for real. I think, not that we ever, 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 ever want to see anyone go down. Let me
No,
reiterate
no,
that
no,
for the
no.
100th time.
I
You
want to
know,
see the best playing the best. Like that's it, you know.
yeah, straight up.
And I hate it when we win a game, if Jokic isn't playing. I hate that everybody then discounts, whatever happened in that game. Oh, well, they didn't have Jokic or they didn't have Wemby or I
Yeah.
I don't like when people make excuses like that. You can only play the game with the players you have that night, and each team has to face injuries and each team has to win the games in front of them. And so, I love when everybody's healthy. That way we don't hear any excuses from anyone.
It sounds like you're talking about a 0-0 mentality for each game.
0-0, baby. Just, getting that mindset is just the next game is the next game.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of next games, so we've
Yes.
we've talked about we have the Warriors tonight. Then you all are gonna get late night Paula with the post game wrap on that, probably after midnight. Um,
Yes,
we've got Sunday.
definitely.
We've got at the Suns at Phoenix on Sunday. Then the final
Yep.
back-to-back for January is at home on Monday against the Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets come to town with Thunder legend Trey Mann.
Amen.
And then on Wednesday, the Utah Jazz will be in Oklahoma City. So two away games, two home games, and then we'll be back with you next Friday, before the next Friday game.
They just love having games right after we record because we never know what's going to happen.
That's right. We don't. January will be fun. There is a game literally every other day throughout this month. So it'll be one day on, one day off, one day on, one day off. A nice, oh, we got another pet coming in.
Hi,
So
yeah.
we've had my cat and now a dog at Paula's. It's just an animal-filled
It's a
YouTube.
menagerie.
This is why you should subscribe to our YouTube feed and not just the audio version, because you get the fun guest appearances by the animals. So
Absolutely.
So smash that subscribe button, hit
Button.
the like button, hype us, whatever the star numbers, like give us all the stars, give us all the great ratings wherever you listen or watch us. And you will see us on Threads and Blue Sky and TikTok and Facebook and everywhere now, except for X. Like that's the one place we refuse to go.
Yes, if you can't find us, then let us know, but you can't avoid us easily at all anymore. Not that you
No,
would want to.
we are making ourselves the ever-present Thunder Aunties, and we are here to walk you through the ups and downs of the roller coaster of this regular season. All right, Thunder Gal fam, we'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.
Bye, guys.